Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to this segment of Teaching Abroad, Living Abroad, Learning to Thrive Abroad. I want to commend everyone for coming out on Sundays like this because it's one of those things that's it's not easy. Sunday is a day for rest. Living abroad, right? Learning to thrive abroad. I want to commend everyone. That's me trying to make sure that I'm problem solving in the background so that if it's breaking, because I watched some of our old live segments and I saw that, oh, if it's breaking in the background, and I need to be aware of that. So
Yeah.
I've got something in the background, making sure that I can see what's happening. Right. Okay. So thank you so much for coming on this live segment today, everyone. We hope that we can deliver as we've been delivering for the past few weeks. Before we start, I'll let Oyin introduce herself. The way we introduce ourselves all the time because, for people who are just joining for the first time, we want them to know that we're not just jumping into it and assuming that we know everybody. We want to bring everybody up to speed. So I'm going to let Oyin introduce herself. Mom is in the background. She's going to be the moderator. She's going to be responding to everybody because she's busy doing something really, really big that we'll be sharing with you guys later on. So, Oye, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everyone. My name is Unyinye Anikwe, and I have been teaching for about 14 years now. I, I've had experience teaching in Nigeria and also at an international school, and I am currently teaching in the UK. I have both the US and the UK license, and I have a YouTube channel, Uni Anikwe. Happy to be here today.
And I'm always happy to share this experience with you every Sunday. Are you tired?
I am tired. It's been a crazy week.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it's been a crazy year. Whew, it has been
Breath of fresh air, finally.
I'm on holiday. Are you on holiday
I'm not on
yet?
holiday yet. Fingers crossed. I can't wait.
Because Spain is a hot country, so we go on holiday earlier than everybody else. So yeah. Ah, whew, whew, I'm happy for that. It's now I need a month to get myself into that groove of normalcy again.
At least you get your early morning sleep. Take your time to wake up from bed.
I think that ended when I had children. That ended when I had children because I can't remember the last time I slept up to 6 a.m. 5:30 I'm up because my children were like chickens. They wake up very early in the morning, so I had to keep up with them. They're like
Yeah.
vampires. They don't sleep early, but then they wake up to eat and then day has started. Then they go back to sleep. Then I'm awake. So that kind of thing. Motherhood, we didn't read the fine prints. I didn't read the fine prints. Right. And maybe this keys into, should we tease them for what we're going to do next week? Because
Yeah,
I'm trying to tease this motherhood part into it now.
that's a good idea.
Do you want to give them a tease for next week so that they know what to expect next week?
Yeah. So next week we're considering doing something not just for teachers. Yes, for
Yeah.
teachers, because I mean teachers are also parents, right? But
Yes.
moving to a new country, there's a lot going on for you. And you're trying to figure things out in terms of the society, also trying to figure things out for the workplace. And then sometimes, as parents, we tend to neglect what's most important, which is our kids. I mean, they are the reason why we do what we do, right? So, next
Exactly.
week, we're going to be looking at ways we can support our children, especially here in the diaspora, given who they really are, their identity. Most times they are minority in the classroom, so kind of we're going to be sharing tips on what to look out for. So when your kids come home and say certain things to you, should you just wave it aside, or do you need to be paying more attention to what your kids are saying, having more conversations with them. So this is not just going to be helping teachers alone. Every mother, every father, in fact, every person who has just moved abroad, no
Everybody.
matter the country where you are, needs to be a part of that conversation.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. So, guys, next week, please, uh, we want to see, but we'll make sure that there's a high table, there are chairs, there's everything for everyone to sit down and actually contribute to that way, because it's going to
Yeah,
be, in my spirit, I can feel like it's going to be powerful.
yeah,
Okay,
is.
back to today's one. I would
You
like,
haven't
before we start.
introduced yourself, babes. Introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. They know me. Diaspora Doodles, Janet, international school teacher. Yeah, that's me. I don't. Do you know what? Let's save that one a little bit. International school teacher. I work with primary school age children, and yeah, I'm just a fun teacher that likes to have a lot of drama so that the children can get into the group with me. Okay,
Very-
before we get into today's talk, I wanted to talk about something that I heard over the week, and
Okay.
that is um, someone talked about our platform and raised a few concerns. The person said that, do we not think that this platform and us talking about the problems in our home country and some other parts of the world will now make these employers not want to hire them even more? My response was, the data already exists. There's lots of data done by the UNICEF, NERDEC, UND, UNESCO, all of them, all those UN country, all those UN organizations. The data already exists. Just because some people are not privy to that data does not mean that it does not exist. And just because maybe people have not read that part of the reports, the research and the reports they've already conducted, does not mean that the schools have not read it. Now, because the schools have read it, it's already out there. So what we are doing, we're trying to shed light on it and prefer a solution. Now, you will find out that every week we come here, we don't just talk and just run countries down. We talk about it and we offer solutions. Solutions that will be, oh, this is what happens, this is how to correct it. This is what happens, this is how we can correct it. This is what we've noticed, this is how to go about it. That way, we're not just running it down, we're giving a robust argument on how the problems that exist right now can be fixed. So I hope that anyone who has those kind of questions on their minds can listen to this and understand why we do it. We cannot solve a problem unless we name the problem. If we do not name the problem, then we do not know how to diagnose it and how to cure it. My mother-in-law, she's late now. Uh, she's Nigerian, and she had a thyroid problem, but she believed, her faith was so strong that she refused to take the doctor's prognosis. Because she refused to take the doctor's prognosis, she refused to take her medicines, because she said taking those medicines means that she's agreeing that there's a problem. Because she refused to agree that there was a problem and she didn't take the medicines, then the problem got worse. What I would have preferred, the me of today, not the me of back then, because we were very close, I would have maybe encouraged her to take the medicines, accept the name, take the medicines, claim her faith, and then cured the problem so that she doesn't become a statistic. So, what I'm trying to say is that let's listen to this broadcast with an open mind. Stop dwelling on the problems. Instead, look at the solution so that you'll be one of those that you'll be the good statistic, so that whatever reports people have had on the countries that we're covering in our broadcast or in our live shows, you will be one of those that will change their minds because you have listened to this broadcast. Okay.
Yeah, I actually also think that this is a way of letting people know that we are now aware of are setbacks or shortcomings, and people are now beginning to, you know, do better, seek ways to be better in their practice. So the typical Nigerian teacher, what they will expect from the typical Nigerian teacher is not what's obtainable now, because there are some who have stepped above that. And what we are trying to do is to ensure that everyone also goes with the program. So it's just to have an open mind and look at the whole
Exactly.
thing from a different perspective. Yeah.
Exactly. So I hope that anyone who's worried about us exposing or washing our dirty laundry outside is convinced now with what we're doing and why we're doing this every week. Now, um, because we talk about how the culture differs, today's segment is actually going to delve into how the different cultures helps how the different cultures affect you and your first month, your first week, your first year. How long did it take you to blend into the system? It used to take me a while, I won't lie.
Yeah, it took a couple of months for me to
Hmm.
actually blend in, because although I had worked at an international school, but it was US based, and it's
Yes.
slightly different from the way schools in the UK here are run. Some terms are different, the language is different, the attitude of the people is different. So yeah,
Yes.
it took a couple of months, but the experience I had kind of helped me transition easily, because I mean US is also a third world country. So although, I mean, not third world country, like US is an advanced country. So
Yes.
although some of the things might vary, right?
The
The In
culture is
terms
still
of the
different.
content, the culture, the way of life is still kind of similar. So it was easy for me to transition. But it took a
But
couple of months. Yeah, it still took a couple
yeah,
of months.
I can imagine because even when I came from the US to the UK, I just felt like okay, there is full of Caucasians. I'm coming from a country that's full of Caucasians, and so it would be easy. But it wasn't the same. It was not the same. The procedures were different, the system was different, the curriculum was different, the subject matter and how it is taught was different. And i
Yeah.
and I struggled at first, but like you said, after a while you get used to it. But that's because we are coming from cultures that are similar. Imagine someone coming from a culture that is totally different,
Yeah,
so yeah,
different.
I can imagine. Now, the first thing is, should we start from when they get the letter to get their visas
Yeah.
sorted? See, because for
So
me,
I'm doing a video. You can go.
okay, so for me, whenever I got my hi, whenever I got my letter, my visa letter, that it was time to go, I used to be in such a panic. And that was why I made that video on what to pack, because it was just one of those things that I was not packing just for myself. I was packing for myself, my future classroom, my children, me, my documents, my life going forward from there. So the packing side, anyone who wants to watch that video, if you go onto my channel, you will find that video there. Now, landing in the new country, I'm going to talk about the international teacher route because it's different from teachers inside the UK. I know that the first week, the school will usually send someone to pick me up from the airport. So it will be someone picking me and my family up from the airport, and then we will be taken to a hotel. They will take us to a hotel. We'll stay there. It's usually for a week, and then but in that 1 week, oh my god, we have to find a house. We have to find accommodation. Not find an accommodation. The school has they always have a range for us to choose from because they will sort the housing accommodation. So they will have a range of houses for us to choose from. But look, you are choosing and working because you're going to school in the morning, you are going to choose a house in the evening, then you have children to take care of. It was manic. Sometimes they will send you like 10 houses because the agent is there, the school appointed agent is there to help us get the house, and then we're looking for the house, we're looking for just to be crazy. In the middle of all that, I have to make sure I'm there for my team building exercises, because I'm supposed to be bonding with the old staff, and I'm supposed to be learning from them, and I'm supposed to be understanding all the rules and regulations they are throwing at me. Don't forget this, do this CPD, come and look for this house, do this. Children, get your children sorted. Your children need to have this and that, because I'm a parent also. How did it happen for you?
Yeah, I'm just smiling because I know the experience of my colleagues. You know what it used to be like for them is usually really overwhelming in a
Crazy.
new environment. And it's like once you get in the week before school resumes,
Yeah,
and lots of activities to help you integrate into the society. You need to open a bank account, you need to do this,
yeah,
so it's a lot.
yeah,
But my own case was a bit different because you are an international teacher, right? So I had
yes.
already moved into the UK, although I came in after school had no just yeah school had already resumed when we came in, so we came in August. But thankfully we were able to get a house before arriving,
Okay.
right? So yeah, I didn't start, which was why I had to do supply teaching, because I mean schools had already
Started.
employed
Yeah, must have been. Yeah,
all that. Yeah, so I would say that what to do at the beginning depends on your own situation. So if you're
yeah,
someone who has just got a school in the UK or in the US, in a country where you have been, maybe you studied there and then you've been able to secure a job for yourself, it would be a lot different. So you'd be looking at trying to go on the school's website to understand the policies of the school, familiarize yourself with the curriculum you're going to be teaching.
hmm.
Um, Look at the
That's another
resources.
story.
Look, look at your staff, the staff. Who do you go to when you have a problem? Who is your direct line manager? Who are the people you report to? What's the line of communication? What's the organogram of your organization like? Look at the school layout, because you'll be having new students as well. You should be able to
Yeah,
direct your students. You should be able to direct your students to where they need to go to. So, and ignorance is not an excuse for anything. So,
no.
you want to get on the school website, and as someone who has been employed, the school is also going to be putting you on so many other things. So play around
Yeah.
with, go on the shared drive, or yeah, on your whatever you, if you use Microsoft, whatever it is you guys use, just play around with
Slow
the
down,
resource.
slow down, slow down. Remember, these people are not here yet. They're not here yet. This look, you and I know this because we've moved not once, not twice. People that are coming behind, they don't know this, so we have to slow down. Google Drive. I don't. Hmm. Slow down. Let's so that they can
So
absorb this, because
the thing is
we
with
have about
most,
25 going this
yeah,
September.
with most schools, unlike Nigerian schools where you can't really track what has happened over the years,
Yeah,
with most schools, especially if it's an international school, teachers keep moving. They keep moving. So they always ensure data is a big thing. They have a place where they store all the information by the year. So this academic year, right? There's a folder for this academic year. Every information you need for this academic year is on that folder. At the school where I worked, we had something called Atlas. On Atlas, you're going to find everything that the previous teachers before you taught, right? So you
yeah.
can go through Atlas and have ideas of, oh, this is what this person did in the first week of school. These are the kind of activities they did. So these are resources that you can use to help you, right? So familiarizing yourself, most importantly, with the school procedures. Safeguarding is a big thing now. What are the
Ooh,
safeguarding procedures? How do you report safeguarding issues? Who do you report to? Who are the heads in the school? And what's the scope of each person's job? So to know who to
jobs.
go to.
Yeah,
What is the map of the school um
organogram. Yeah.
organogram?
Who do you report to?
I
Yeah,
report to, where the locations of things in the school, where is the PE area? If kids have to go to a different place for PE, where is that place? If they need to go to a different place for art, where is the art room? Where is the music room? All these things are things you need to familiarize yourself with who am I going to be working with. So who's the next teacher in the same,
Exactly.
that person is also a good resource. Because one thing about teaching in advanced societies is that they want to ensure that, unlike, we like competing, right? But this is healthy competition. Now you have to be in sync with whoever you're working with.
Yeah.
So I mean, there shouldn't be too much difference. You plan your lessons together. So the only difference could be in the delivery, because both of you are two different individuals. So that's a good time to begin to build rapport with the person you're going to be working with. Who is your TA going to be? So all these are the basic things you need to be thinking about.
Yeah.
And on your own, if you think that there are areas that, like in my first year of actually running a class, I had to sign up for a program. The school didn't have to pay for that, but it was during COVID I started. So, and I knew that the experiences I had gotten from working with other teachers, because I started as a TA, is going to be a bit different. We've never had COVID. Most teachers had never really taught online, like full classes
Yeah.
online. And this person was organizing a training to help teachers online. So I had to quickly sign up for that course during the break to also help me. So these are things you should be, thinking about. Are there trainings I need to do, get used
Oh,
to?
not are they? What are the trainings I need to do more like?
So
Do you
holidays are
know?
a good time to do your PDs or your CPD, depending on what you call it.
Yes. Oh
That's a good
Lord.
time to
I've already
identify
done 3 of them now. Hmm.
areas you think you need to. I mean, you need to be honest with yourself. What areas do I need help? What areas do I need support?
Yeah.
Take those PDs. Yeah. So for me, that's the first thing I'll do, is to get used to the environment I'm going to be spending my next 1 year in.
Exactly. Oh my God. I brought my folder, my diary. This diary, hmm, this diary is like, hmm, see, because while all these things you are saying, that happens between work hours. After work, I'm looking at houses, I'm looking at fire inspection, I'm looking at ah
Shopping,
I'm doing
because before
all
buying a new house, you need to go shop for things that used to make your
yes.
life.
Do you know what? September is usually my hardest month, and every time I move countries, because and you wonder why I did it 9 times, right? I don't know. Maybe I like pain.
You're really brave. It takes bravery to be able to, move
While you're doing
countries.
all of this, you are also doing your visa. Mhm. You're doing your work permit, because usually what you do, what happens for anyone who is moving from one country to the other, when you first get there. Oyin is one of the lucky ones. She got there and then she did her paperwork. For someone like me, I'm finishing from one school while and I'm getting myself ready for the next school in the next country or the next continent. So I'm submitting things to the next school, but I'm tidying up in one school. It's always crazy, mad. Now, when you get into the next school, what you need to do is they will take you to get a bank account. They will take you to schools. The school usually helps you. Some schools will not help you. In the US, I didn't get any help like this. I had to hit the ground running. People just assumed I should have done my research. And I was coming from Nigeria where I was not used to doing that kind of research. I was used to someone holding my hand and telling me, okay, do this, do that, do this, do that. And there was nobody. So it was hard. But I'm hoping that today's live session will help all those that are going to be moving. Now, if you're moving, you have to be sorting your visa, because when you enter the country, they give you like a 3-month visa. They call it an entry visa. So if you're applying from your country, you get an entry visa and it lasts only 3 months. When you get into that new country, you will exchange that visa for a work permit. It's bringing PTSD.
It's tedious.
Okay, it's bringing PTSD because not because you find out that you need this. You're Nigerian, or you need to get it from Nigeria. But I'm not coming from Nigeria. Well, you have to get it. I'm coming from, let's say, for example, I'm coming from Oman. I don't have that access. Well, you need to send someone in Nigeria to get that done. A good example, police report. Let's
Thank
have
God it's
five.
done online now. It's actually done online now. You can.
Let's have a minute silence for that police report thing.
Real minute silence.
I'm coming from Oman. I'm moving to maybe Australia. No, no, I moved from Oman to I went to the Norway. So it was. Do you understand? And Norwegians, their own things. They want it by the book, and I'm thinking, okay, but that country. This is me. My Arabic wasn't even strong. Now, then it was still Shuaya Shuaya. I was like Kalami Arabic Shuaya Shuaya. I was not even talking. See, so I'm calling people in Oman, telling them, please, I need an updated police report. And they're telling me, you need to come back to Oman. Meanwhile, Norway is saying, without that police report, I can't go into the classroom. My work permit depends on me getting that police report. I'm in between two countries. Then they tell me, but you're Nigerian, you need to get one from Nigeria. I've not been in Nigeria for the past few years. In fact, I can't remember the last time I went to Nigeria. Yes, but you're Nigerian, you need to, is the bureaucrat, is the red tape. So I'm advising anyone who's watching this now, wait until the last, and your police report needs to be 3 months or less.
One.
So do not do your police reports until you know that your visa is sorted. Don't do it as soon as you apply for your visa, because if you do that before you apply for your visa and it delays, so do your police report last minute and then collect it on the plane, go to the new country because the new country needs it. The Ministry of Education in the new country will not sign you off. You will not start until they have that police report because part of their safeguarding. Then you get that, you have to get your visa sorted because you have 3 months. But don't think, oh, I have 3 months, there's time. No, there's no time because you are decorating your classroom as well. You're preparing for your parents' meeting. You're preparing to meet the children. You're preparing all the books because I don't know about your school, but my school, we used to go to all the schools I've worked actually. You have to go to the storeroom and go and collect your allocation for your
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
So all the children's books, all the children's stationery, all the charts, all the everything. You are constantly on the run. I don't know how we even survive that. We're still mentally stable at the end of this journey. Honestly. And then you
It's
would get home, you're not shouting at your children. I had two children, and for a while I was alone with the children. I was traveling with them alone. So I'm mom and dad at the same time, and I'm traveling with them, and I can't shout at them because it's not their fault. Poor children, I'm the one dragging them around the world. So you're frustrated because these people are asking you for one thing, the other people are not. No two countries are synchronized, even if it's America and Canada, or sorry, even if it's the US and Canada, or the UK and the US. You think that these cultures are similar. Bureaucracy is different in all these countries. So yeah, gather strength and get your. Then you
yeah.
need to get your. If you are sorry, if you are international like me, you need to get your uh, insurance, health insurance. Oh, another 5 minutes silence for that. See, oh yeah, I'll just let you continue before I discourage people so that people don't think that I'm trying to discourage them. I'm just trying to let you know that you can do it. If I am still standing here today and I'm encouraging you to get into teaching after doing it 9 times, 9 countries, you can do it one step at a time. What's that song? One step at a time. Mhm. Oh my God. Ah, we're
Yeah.
laughing. I like how we're laughing. We're making it seem as if it's a walk in the park. Okay.
Yeah. Who always find a way to breeze through it by God's grace.
In fact,
So so you're thinking about the things you do even before school starts,
yes.
right? So that's
That's
why
a big one.
before and then on the first day, because I feel like that first day, I mean, you don't get to really sleep well because a lot is going on
No.
in your head. You're thinking about all the what ifs, all the things that can go wrong, and how in your mind you can sort everything out. And that's why it's important for you to be prepared. Fine, your lesson, like I always say, might not go as planned, and you're not even really planning a lesson. So let's get into things you need to do before. So once you're
Ah,
done, familiarizing yourself with the school, you want to also go through the data of the students you're going to be working with.
yes. I think that's a
So
class list. We give you a class list.
yes, there's a class list. There's also like a transition note. So at the end of the
Yes.
school year, every teacher is supposed to write a note. So like in the school where I worked, it's more like a spreadsheet. So you're putting in some things about each student.
About the child. Yeah.
Yeah, that is going to come handy. It's not like you should define your children from another teacher's lens because that's their own experience,
Exactly.
right? You're
Mm.
going to be
But it
building
gives
your
you
own.
at least a little bit of a
It
mind
gives
map.
you,
Yeah.
it's more like a heads up on what to expect. So if you're working with kids like younger kids, early years, you're going to be getting, so even if they are new to the nursery or wherever it is, the school must have gathered some information in the course of admitting them to the school. Now you're looking out for kids that have allergies. What kind of allergies do they have? Because these kids are going to rely on you for their meals. Like they can't get their meals themselves. You're going to be the one serving them the meals. So you're checking data for kids who have allergies. Are there kids with learning needs? What did the other teachers, what were some of the things that worked in their previous class? So basically just trying to gather as much data from
As possible.
your
Yeah.
students. And what I do is, if I feel like I'm not satisfied, not even if I feel like I'm not satisfied, I have this form that I give to parents on the first day of school. It's more like
Oh,
them
yes.
me,
It's a folder. Is it?
yeah, send it home.
Yeah.
On the first day of school, I always prepare a folder. Although before school resumes, I like to, like, in a nutshell, introduce myself to the, because you would have been handed the parents' information as well, like their email addresses. I like
Yes.
to send an email like
To
the
introduce yourself.
week
Yeah.
before resumption to just introduce myself, let them know. I mean, I don't want them to be seeing me and learning my name for the first time on, when they are dropping their kids off. So a short
Yeah.
introduction about myself. And then I always also let them know the items that they need to bring in for their kids, because some of them are
Yeah.
new, some parents are new to the country as well. So
Yes.
are you buying hot lunch for your kids? Do you want packed? Are they bringing packed lunch? Oh, we don't allow fizzy drinks, not like
Yeah.
saying we don't allow fizzy drinks. Instead, in a positive way, like send your child with healthy food.
Encourage them to sort of,
You know,
yeah. Yeah.
yes, we need to change of clothes for the younger ones. Put label in a labeled bag. Put extra clothes for your kids, so that they can use it when they have an accident. If they have like a blankie, we always like to collect, at least each child has a blanket in class, because we have
Yeah.
time when they get to sleep and all that. And yeah, basically introducing myself, letting them know what to expect. And then for the
Yeah.
little ones as well, letting the parents know that their kids can be safe, more like a small letter for the parent themselves too, because sometimes you
Yeah.
realize that the parents struggle more than the kids. That separation, separating from their kids, especially those who haven't been to school for the first time. I always like to
Especially
attach,
when you are black.
yes, on tips that can help parents to, let go, just drop the kid off,
Yeah.
hug them, but have a conversation with them. Let them know that they are safe with the teacher, and then you're going to come back to pick them. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just for first time parents on how they can separate from their kids. So these are information I send home in an email even before school resumes. Then another thing I do is to set up my classroom. This can look different depending on what age group you're teaching. So if you're teaching secondary, of course the secondary classroom looks different from the primary classroom, and even the EYFS classroom looks a bit different
Different.
from the primary classroom. So, but one thing to note is that you want to be organizing your classroom to be tidy, right? Things should be placed, like have corners where you place things and label them correctly. For the younger ones, you're labeling with pictures so that kids, because they can't read, right? So, but when they see a
Yeah.
picture of a toilet, they know that this place, this is the door that leads to the toilet. This is the math center. This is where the computers or iPads are kept in the classroom.
Yeah.
Um, this is the reading corner or the library in the classroom. This is the math center, stuff like that. Label where they put their bags. You should be labeling the names as well. So when you
The
come, when
cubby
they
holes. Yeah.
they see their names and then they know that this is where their items go. So you're thinking about how you want to set the layout of your classroom. um these are the place. If the library is going to be here, maybe you want the math center to be there, or the reading center, sorry, yeah, the math center to be close to the library because it's calmer than where you have the dramatic play center. And so you're thinking about what you want the layout of your classroom to look like, and then you're labeling it, organizing it. I do not like to put up a lot on the wall because I know that for
No.
some classrooms, when you enter, you realize that even the I think the only thing I put up is I just put the schedule, the title. I don't even put anything yet because I want to
Yeah,
do it
because
with
it's child centered. Yeah.
yes, I want to do it with the kids. So as we begin to do things together, we
You
begin
start
to
to put
put
things up.
up those things. So the classroom is a bit bare, but children should be able to know where to go to get the things that they need. And imagine a child walking into the classroom for the first time, because for the little ones, it could be their pictures,
On the
your
wall, the self-registration. I love that self-registration thing.
so when they
Put
come
your
in,
name,
they are
remove
seeing
your
their
name from here, put it here to show that you are here. It's
exactly
perfect.
stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you're thinking about, and the good thing is you do not need to reinvent the wheel. There are lots of
No.
resources out there for teachers, right? If you go on Twinkle, there are resources. Teacher pay teacher is one we used to use in the
That pay
American,
teacher. I
yeah, in
see.
the American
I've had
school,
a
yeah.
subscription since the beginning, and
Exactly. So you will always find resources, even as simple as going to Google to ask how do I set up my classroom. You're going to get resources. So holiday for teachers. I don't think teachers really have holidays because holiday
I
is
have
not
2 weeks.
it's
I
not
have
really
2 weeks.
holiday.
No, my 2 weeks, so Spain, we're on holiday now. We broke up for the holiday on Friday, this past Friday, but I'm not on holiday in my head yet. I'm still in that hustle and bustle life where I want to sort out my display for next year. We already know, because before we leave, they've already done the scheme. Oh, this is another thing. When you get there, please make sure you use the people, the human resource around you. Your TA would know because she would have worked with a teacher from last year, and she would have been part of the people drawing up the scheme, because in the diaspora we draw up the scheme after Easter, so that if there's any problems that we need to troubleshoot, we do it before we go on holiday,
Yeah.
so that the publishers can deliver the books in case there's any change in anything. In Nigeria, I realized when I worked there, for the 1 year I worked in Nigeria, I was trying to get people to organize the scheme from after Easter. And they were looking at me, no, they do it in August. How can you do it in August? That sort of thing. So please have it in mind that the scheme has already been drawn up for you. That's why Oyin is saying don't reinvent the wheel. Don't go and kill yourself for lesson plan. No, no. They've already drawn up the scheme that you're using in September. It's there sitting down, it's carved in stone. Nobody can change anything now. You just tweak it. So just when you get there, make sure you use the resource of the people around you. If they give you a TA, grab your TA. Your TA will know, unless your TA is new herself.
Yeah.
There was 1 year I had a new TA, and she was lost. I was lost. It was chaos. So, but if the TA doesn't know what to do, grab a teacher. This is where you start making relationships, you building relationships. You have for those of you who follow me on Instagram and TikTok, you see, I always say my work bestie, my work bestie. I do have a work bestie. On every continent, I've had a work bestie. Valerie, I know you will watch this. This is you. June, Mm-hmm. You guys be watching this. So, guys, it's make use of the people around you. They will give you, ask them for the first lesson plan for the first week, because that will set the tone of your class. If you miss that first week, you can still get it back, but it's not the same. The parents will be judging you, the school will be judging you. You are trying to settle into the country, so use the people around you. Be sweet, be nice, be the cute girl next door. What are we doing next week? I know the lesson, the scheme is already set up, so that it is with that scheme that you will now do what Oyin is saying now, that you set up your centers. Some schools work with centers. I've worked in schools where they use the IPC and the IB. You set up your centers according to the theme that you are teaching that term. If you are doing it with the national curriculum for England and Wales, or the national curriculum in the US curriculum, you they usually have class themes for the whole year. So, but in IB, you have themes for each topic that you teach, and you change your displays regularly. Now, using the people around you, using all the information that you get, means that you have to be a big learner. That first year, that first month, you are the biggest. In fact, every day is a school day, and make sure that you are the one sitting in front of this of the class. I'll say it again. When you move abroad, your first month, every day is a school day for you. You are the one learning the most. You are learning rules and routines, the way the children are learning rules and routines. You are learning people's attitude to work. You are learning people's disposition to you being new in the school. You are learning the parents' attitude. You are learning. You are continuously learning. And this will help you a lot, because some people end up running away middle of the year. Some people end up with depression. It's not because you are not good. It's just that you are in a culture that is different from your own. So you are like, the river is moving this way. You are like fish swimming that way. And unless you get the idea that you have to swim with the current, it will be really hard. Oh, do you want to say something on what I wrote everything down? Research.
Yeah, so research, you must have done your research about your students before, and you're researching the expectation for the school, and you've prepared your classroom, you've done your research on the PDs you need to take, you've done your research on how to set up your classroom. And now maybe it's the first day of school. How do
Ah,
you actually, that one can be really nerve-wracking. So the kids are here, the parents have dropped off their kids in the morning,
ah,
or the kids have walked into the classroom in the morning, and you're wondering to
ah.
yourself, what do I do with these children? Okay, so I would say that it's
Screaming
very
children.
important.
They'll be screaming, especially in the early years. They'll be
Some of them they
screaming
will
their heads off.
cry. Sometimes you have like five kids crying. You
Four,
might
five.
just
I used to have the whole class crying.
yeah, there were times we had to send for the principal, the curriculum coordinator. Everyone is in the classroom trying to, because I mean, two teachers alone or three teachers alone, we're not going
Cannot
to
do
be enough
it.
to calm these kids. So instead of, at that point, if you're an early years teacher, you're not focusing on teaching the curriculum, you're focusing on
No,
get the kids to adapt to where they
settling
are,
them in.
right? So, and then if you're teaching older kids, like maybe kids, although I'm EYFS, I've had the opportunity or the privilege to work all the way to year five because I was a TA, so I was working in different classrooms, right? So
Yeah.
if you're working with older kids, then you want to be building the routines, procedures, and setting the expectation, right? And you want to be doing this from the first day, not like shouting at kids or throwing rules at them, but so for
In fact,
example,
not the time to shout at all. That's the time that if you feel yourself getting stressed, you can feel your blood pressure rising. Take a deep breath. I think I learned something along the way. The more anxious I got, the lower my voice went. Because if your voice is loud, the nervousness comes through, and people will perceive it as that teacher is very aggressive, that sort of thing.
yeah,
So try and calm yourself as much as possible. I think the first I learned over time that the night before the first day of school, I sleep with this meditation app where it's like just calming me down so that I'm as calm as possible. It's a very nerve wracking period, especially if you are doing all the other things that we've just said that you'll be doing. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
don't be afraid to do brain breaks. Don't be afraid to like play games. Like ease up on it shouldn't be like academics. So you're
no,
building, think about how you want your kids to walk into your classroom every morning, right?
yeah,
Do you want them to line up? You give them a fist bump at the door. The first
yeah,
day of school is the best time to start that. So
yes,
whatever expectation you have for the kids, you
yeah,
want to start it from the first day of school.
yeah,
Sometimes it's really hard to build those routines because I remember like when I was working in kindergarten, the kids would maybe stand up and not push in their chairs, and then would sometimes go, okay, you know what, we're going to try this again. Now everyone needs to
yes.
go back and sit down. Kids
Don't be
sit down,
afraid to do that, please, in your
you know,
first week.
keep practicing. Sometimes it could take more than 1 week. There were times the teacher spotted that most kids were not, closing their markers and putting it the way she wanted them
Way,
to. Because
yeah,
some of them have been in a different classroom and the previous teachers had their own expectation. Now,
exactly.
your own expectation might be different from that of the previous teacher. So you need to be letting them know what it is. And a subtle way to do this was to read books, right? So you read a book that aligns with what you want the
Yeah,
kids to do, and then you guys now have it as a conversation, right?
yes,
So then how do you we close our leads. Why do we need to close our leads? The kids are brainstorming. This could be something you're doing for writing, right? You're reading a
yeah,
book about how to maybe tidy up the classroom, and then you're asking questions during your mini lesson. You're having that conversation. Then the kids then go back and maybe draw pictures, and then you're expecting them to implement what you just taught them. And then
yeah,
you walk around and you're like, oops, I noticed that some markers are laying around. And you see that the kids quickly, grab they'll want to go around, tidy up. So
very
you need to
quickly.
you,
In my first week, they don't even look at me. They look at me and say, "What's that one saying?" You know.
you need you need to go over some of these things, these routines over and over. How do we talk on the carpet? Do you want them to give a thumbs up? Do you want them
Yeah,
to cross their fingers when they want to use the toilet? Do you let them know how you want things to run? And this is not just for
exactly.
the little ones. It works the same way. Because I remember when I was in year 4, the kids already
It's the same
understood
thing
that.
for the whole of primary.
Yes, the kids understood that
Yeah.
when they walk into this teacher's room, you have to walk in silently.
With my, I
Drop
say
your
inside voice, outside voice. Yes,
Yes,
there's outside voice for playground.
you have your activity, your worksheet on the table. No, your book on your right handwriting book. She was really big about handwriting. You have your handwriting book on the table.
Yeah,
So from picking them up from the playground, I was a TA at the point. I picked them up from the playground in the morning.
and
I
then you
help them
take them.
calm down. As we walk back to the classroom, they are reminded of the expectation. And they
Yes.
also know that I don't talk to you, even as a TA. Once I turn back, everybody knows. I mean, the
Yeah.
expectation, right? So we have
Yeah.
to, calm the kids down outside, and then that helps the kids, walk into the classroom quietly. And then there's music in the background, music that the
Yes.
kids actually enjoy. So everybody understood that routine from day one. And that was able to, the thing is, if you're able to set those routines and you're
At the
consistent,
beginning. Yeah.
because it's important to be consistent with these things. If you're able to keep up with them, you realize that the whole year, like you set the tone for the whole year. So you have
Yeah.
less to deal with. You're dealing when there are issues that arise. So there should be teachable moments. Issues arise, solve those issues. Don't allow them to just go by.
To
Because the more you
fester.
allow, yes, things go by, you realize that because towards mid-year is always really
You
chaotic. So
all
you've
those
not
things
set
break
the
down.
routine,
Yeah.
you've not set the routine from the beginning, then you're going to really struggle
Yeah.
as it, right? To be hard to change certain things in the middle of the year. So you need to be thinking about what your expectation of your classroom should be, and then
Exactly.
try to start putting these things in from day one. And if you're wondering what kind of activities you can do on the first day of school, it could be a word search, it could be games to
That
get
won't
to
work
know
for secondary.
for
SWOT set will not work for secondary.
I'm talking about primary now. Games to
When
get
you
to
finish,
know,
I will cover secondary.
like you have conversations with the kids. Maybe read a book like David Goes to School, or for kids
Yeah.
that are crying, The Kissing Hands, depending on what class you're taking, or The World's Best Teacher. An activity for that would be you guys can have a conversation about what you read in the book, then maybe create an anchor chat. What's their expectation of the best teacher? What's their expectation of the best student? And that is a way for you to build connection. There are name games as well, because you might not be pronouncing the kids' names correctly from looking at the list. But as you get to meet these children every day, you get to know them better. They correct you on how to pronounce their names.
Yeah.
For the little ones, we always have little bags where we put things in there.
Yes.
So if I'm teaching a lesson about getting to know me, I could have a spoon or a mixer. I pull it out and the kids can guess, oh, she likes to do this, she likes to cook. That's a game you can play. Or if it's for the EYFS, it could be picture of a turtle and then you have a rhyme for that turtle. The
Yeah.
picture of a spider and then you sing itsy bitsy spider. So yeah, the activities. Don't feel pressured to begin to teach the curriculum from day one. Just
Some
understand that.
schools, some schools will try to pressure you. I've had schools where they try to pressure me, because remember, every school, the culture of every school is different. I've had
Yeah,
schools where they try to pressure me. Janet, what are you doing? You're supposed to be teaching this week. This is what we are teaching this week. Remember, they've already drawn up the scheme before you
yeah,
came, and they don't want, especially if a two form entry school or a three form entry school. Two from entry, three from entry just means, how we will say just one A, just one B, just one
yeah,
C.
yeah,
So if you're in a school that has just one A, just one B, just one C, over here we say it's a three form entry school, or arms, or something funny like that. So in case they have arms in a school, they don't want parents to start complaining, because if they have twins, for instance, they don't put them in the same class. They want them to have individual experiences. So they will put one twin in one arm and the other twin in the other arm, except the parents insist. Now, if you have something like that, that means there's already competition. Or sometimes there are cousins where one cousin will be in one arm and the other cousin will be in the arm, and so they are comparing. So some schools want you to, they don't want the extra talk later on. So they try to make sure all the teachers are teaching at the same thing at the same time, so that there's no too much comparison. What you can do if you're in that kind of situation where you have been almost coerced into teaching from the first day, try and incorporate a lot of PSHE lessons into your routines, so that PSHE, physical health, and was social education. So incorporate a lot of PSHE into your lessons, or what they call civics into your lesson. It is in the civics or the story you choose for whatever. If they are telling you to choose something, maybe you are supposed to start with verbs for that week. Make sure the story you have also has a moral that hits on that thing you want to teach them. It could be, we're doing verbs, but the whole story is about how you should line up properly in the class. Okay, choose the verbs from. So you're still teaching what they're asking you to teach, so that you don't get in trouble. You don't want to be the teacher who comes in at the beginning of the school year and you're already doing something different, like you're a vigilante on your own, that sort of thing. Another thing you need to be aware of is that different schools have different ways of behavior. So you might have that as your, at the back of your mind. Or you say you have watched Oyin and Janet, they've talked about the behavior, but the school has a different behavior policy. Please try and keep in touch with the school's behavior policy and sort of marry what you've heard with what the school is doing, so that you don't want to be the one causing friction at the beginning of the school year. Because if you start causing friction at the beginning of the school year, please don't forget you're coming from a different country, so you're an outsider. You're coming from a different culture, that's another outsider. Parents might not be predisposed to seeing someone like you in the classroom, that's another outsider. So you don't want to wind people up and get their backs raised up from the beginning. You want it to be seamlessly, smoothly done, but without losing yourself in the process. So I hope that that part of it is clear. Because I've had schools that would tell me, no, you have to start teaching what is on the scheme from the beginning. And I'm like, but I need the behavior to be sorted. If the behavior is not sorted, it will not go really
Yeah,
well.
I feel like you can actually integrate, like it can go hand in hand, because
Yeah,
in the course of teaching, that's where spotting the teachable moments come in, right? And no matter what, your the classroom is still your classroom, right? You have the curriculum, but you then know how to deliver these things. And that's why morning meetings are, for me, is a must for all
very crucial. Oh my
primary.
God, we didn't talk about morning meetings.
Morning meetings is a must. So you're expected to start teaching from the first day. That 15 minutes every morning you have with the kids, it is a good time for you to have those conversations, right?
No, I thought you were
Get
talking about morning meetings with the team, not with the kids.
no, I'm talking about morning meeting with the kids.
Okay,
With the
because there's
kids.
morning meetings with the team too, and that's very crucial. Some people think that it's not important.
Yeah, you actually have to meet with your team. It's if you have a morning meeting to attend, because it's not actually all schools that do morning meeting with team. Like in the school where I worked, morning meeting was with the team was not a thing. But then it was mandatory for us to collaborate, which is like the thing you talked about, like you're expected to the school was a bit flexible on how allowed you take ownership for your room, right?
Ah,
You
that's
knew what
America.
you knew what you know where you're heading to at the end, but they were really big about the child on the chair. That they always talked about the children used to be their focus. So
Yeah,
they tell you at the beginning of the year, ease in gradually, and then you have to be working with your your pair, the person you're supposed to be on the same
you're
class.
paired with. Yeah,
Yeah, so there's always a day of the week where you meet to plan activities for the next week. So although this is the standard, we still I mean, although this is the curriculum you're supposed to teach, we're allowing you to go with the needs, like listen to the children, observe them, and know what they need. But that is not to say that you should now, because they are checking on you as well to know how things are going. They're coming into the
yeah,
classroom, pushing into the classroom to observe you with the kids. And yes, so if you're working collaboratively with your pair, then you're planning similar activities. We would print the same worksheets. It's just how you deliver it that is the
yeah,
thing. But if you're like Jay said, working with a school that's feels like you need to be doing this thing, you find a way to also ensure that you're listening to the kids and meeting their needs while also teaching. Like you said, you're teaching verbs. Think about a book that you can read maybe one page or one chapter, not really one page of that book you can read that will both teach what the school expects you to teach and still cover the behavior aspect. And spotting teachable moments is also very good. So when you find something comes up, talk about it. That can be a way to like let kids know, okay, you shouldn't be calling out in class. Okay, this
yeah,
is how I want you. If you need to use the bathroom, or guys, I think we should come up with an easy way for us to, communicate when I'm talking or when we're having a conversation, because we want to we want to ensure that everyone feels respected and valued. So, what are if we need to go to the bathroom, what do you guys think? What sign do you think we should use for bathroom? And the kids are
yeah.
like, let's do two fingers like this. You could just draw two fingers on the ankle chart. So each time we go to the bathroom, we use two
They just
fingers.
show that
And
one.
this can be done like in a space of 10, 15 minutes, you're done, and take ownership of your class. Just know how to balance your time, teach what needs to be taught and still listen to the needs of the kids, because
Of the
in
children.
the end, the children are they are more important than that curriculum. If they are
Yeah,
not comfortable, if you're not managing your room well, the same people who expect you to be able to teach from day one expect you to be able to set some rules in place to be able to manage your classroom.
exactly.
Your discretion now to know how to balance things out is
Yeah.
very important.
I think for secondary, how I would start the secondary year is that I can see someone said games and critical thinking activities for secondary. Yes, I always use escape room. Woo! I love escape room activities because it's more of their age. It's more of a there's a bit of vibe to it because you don't forget secondary age children, that's from 11 to 16 especially, they're at that age where they think they're too cool for school. They feel like, what are you telling me? I'm no longer a baby. I'm not in primary anymore. Don't tell me this. Don't tell me that. So if you go in with brute force, you will get force in return because physics say for every reaction there's an equivalent reaction. So that kind of thing, you have to learn how to build mutual respect in your class. I think that's the best thing for secondary.
Yeah.
Build mutual respect. If you set a rule, you are following it too, so that they can see that you are not above that rule. Always sort of try to, because that's when they get to the age where they start developing and there's puberty going on. There's a lot going on in their lives, to be honest. So you have to be able to. Is that my phone? Is that your phone?
No, my phone is not. Is
Somebody's
that
phone is ringing.
someone's wondering? It's not, maybe from outside your house. I don't know.
I hope
There's
it's
no.
not my house. Hmm. Okay. I wish I could stop it because it's starting to wind me up now. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. It seems like it's here, but I can't find it. Anyway, so yeah, the first thing I would say is that with secondary children, you have to build that routine with them. You have to understand them. You have to give them a chance to know that you're an adult. I respect you as an adult, but I need you to respect me too, so that this classroom will have it will have a good vibe. If they do not follow the rule, don't shout, don't insist. Wait, just keep quiet. As in, I'm waiting for you. Remember, we need to make this classroom a conducive place for learning. They also need some sort of independence. With primary, I find that their independence is promoted but restricted. With secondary, is promoted a lot more. And you have to just sort of follow their needs in a way. Another thing with secondary, they come in the morning because they are independent, they are big children. I don't need to talk too much. What I used to do is that I used to make sure that there was something that they used to do. So we agreed as a class that they will always have, I would have marked all their work. So they will come in the morning and they do their corrections. That's it. If you've not finished your homework, I'm not going to chase you. That is the time for you to finish your homework. The 15, 20 minutes that we have in the morning, that's the time for you to finish your homework. And then let's remember that secondary children, they don't have a class teacher that is in past their pastoral carer. They have a class tutor. Now, as a class tutor for secondary, you're like the form master. Is that not how we say it in Nigeria? We say form master. You are the one in charge of their PSHE lessons. Nobody will tell you that, but once they give you a class tutor role, you know that that's what you are doing. You're the one in charge of civic. You're one in charge of health education. You're the one in charge of j- documentation and all those kind of things, especially as they move towards writing SATs for the US or writing IGCSE for the UK and all those other things. Another thing I used to do with secondary was that I used to let them form the rule. I don't form the rule. I know what I want the rule to be. So I would ask a question. So what about, for example, what about toilets? Do we just let anybody walk out of the toilet? So we all sort of devise the rule together and then it goes from there.
I think
Now
that forming the rule, letting them form the rule actually applies to
to
um
primary as well.
as well. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does. Because they feel like they have ownership. Remember,
Ownership.
it's children centered, not
Yeah.
teacher centered. Another thing that we need to be aware of as we work in the diaspora is that deadlines. Nobody will tell you about deadlines. They believe that you're a professional and that once they've said it once, in fact, one of the things I want anyone who's going to work in the diaspora to have in mind is that when you go and work in the diaspora at the beginning of the year, they give you a calendar. They will not remind you after that. Your calendar is given to you at the beginning of the year. It's up to you to follow it or leave it. If you leave it because you are waiting for someone to remind you at staff meeting, you'll be surprised you'll be the one standing there just holding your shame in your hand, thinking, or holding your self-esteem in your hand, wondering how did you'll be thinking of all the different things that got you to that point. So there's a lot happening, especially in your first week, first month of school. And I always suggest get something like this. It doesn't cost so much. There was a time I was using this as a side hustle at school. Let me bring it to the camera. There was a time I was using it as a side hustle. I was creating journals like this, and I was giving it to them at Christmas, and then they loved it, and then they will order some from me and send it to their teacher friends for Christmas. They will wrap it up and all those kind of things. But it's really, really crucial to write things down. Why? They will not remind you twice. Unfortunately, nobody will remind you twice. If you are given a deadline, for example, children's data should go out. The first report that we write is usually in October. Now, that report is for to say how the children are settling in. Now, if you're going to write reports in October to tell the parents how the children are settling in, you're not going to wait until a week before the deadline before you submit. I always give myself, so if the deadline is October 15th, I will give myself October 1st as my deadline. So that way, because I'm the kind of person that works when I have less time, when if I know that I don't have enough time, I work in the time I've got. So I try to reduce the amount of time that I've got so that in case it spills over, then I'm still within the deadline period. So if the reports are going out on the 15th of October, school will want it by the maybe 7th of October. I will make sure that my reports are ready by the end of September. What do I write? You see all those first day that you're writing, all those rules and regulations with them. Just note one thing down about each child. It's just easy, and this comes in really handy. You just put the child's name. Just scribble something, scribble something, scribble something, so that when it's time to write the report, you get this, and you will find out that you have too much on the child. Just scribble it down. Even if you don't scribble it down immediately, you go home, try and remember what has happened at school that day. It might be I like to do it in the morning when I'm on the toilet, when the house is quiet. I pick up the book and oh yes, this one, something happened. Oh yes, I have to remember this. Oh yes, I need to remember this. So that I start keeping all the data. And by the time it's time to write the reports, it's a breeze for me. I just type it all out because I've already done the reports. I note everything down. And this is not just early years or primary, even for secondary. I write things down all the time and I keep up to date with this. Another thing that you should always have in mind is that at Christmas, how many reports did you said you how many
Four.
reports did you get?
Two progress reports and two normal reports.
Now, because I've worked at different schools all over the world, the schools differ the way their reporting system is. At some schools where I worked, they had October, Christmas, Easter, and then summer. Some schools will have the first week we had reports. That's their settling in reports. First week, it was just too much. So they will have first week, they will have midterm break report, then they had Christmas report, then another midterm break report, then Easter report, then another midterm break report, and then final report. It was crazy. And what helped me was all the things I used to write down. I didn't used to struggle. For those of you who are going for early years, please, from the first day, grab your TA and love your TA or whoever it is that is working with you. Let them take, even if the children are scratching their hair, take a photo. Even if the children are whatever they are doing, even if they are just sitting down looking, take a photo. You can then sit down at the end of the day and go through those photos and link it to the EYFS objectives, because you need three pieces of evidence. Let your TA, my co-teacher, that's what she used to do. She used to just she was always with her phone. She was newly married, so she was always chatting with her husband. She was not supposed to have her phone on her, but I decided that our friendship needed to build, to bond. So she used to hide it under the table, thinking I didn't see her. I let her go, but I in exchange for something, you can take those, you can be chatting with your husband because you guys are in honeymoon phase, but please just raise the phone a little, or raise the iPad and take pictures of the children. So she had hundreds of photos. By the time it comes to half term, she had hundreds of photos because she wanted to chat with her husband. I allowed her, which is why I'm saying try and have that thing with secondary too. It's a give and take relationship. Same thing with your TA. Have a give and take relationship. You know she's doing something that she should not be doing, but you need her to do something. So tell her to take as many photos as possible. Then you sit down, and then reporting becomes easy for you. Or you do have anything to add while I look at my book for any other thing that I need to add before we round up this evening?
Yeah, documentation, just like you said. I One thing I used to do was, so the first pictures they would draw in class, because I taught pre-K and kindergarten. So their first picture they draw, I keep it. Maybe the first piece of writing they do, I collect it, and then I maybe the first partnership conference I have with the parents, or as they progress,
Yes.
we can then compare, as in it's easier to see the growth that kids have made if you have like their work. So imagine a child coming in and the first day all they could do was just to, use the color to scribble, and then by mid-year they're already drawing meaningful pictures, and maybe towards the end of the year they're already adding words to their pictures. The parents can see firsthand the progress, even if in their mind they feel, oh, my child. But once you bring those piece of evidence, it's very clear that this child has made some growth. And then another thing I like to do is take first day of school pictures. So I always have
Yeah.
like a board
Yeah.
that will
Yeah.
say my first day of school, and parents always love to
Oh,
have it.
yes.
So
That
I
brings
take
me to something. Parents. Parents, look, if you can get the parents under your armpit from the beginning, you will
yes,
have
yes,
a smooth year.
exactly.
What I always do is that, like what you did, where you have the before and after. I show when they come into my class, and then I take a picture towards the end so that I can do it before. Oh, look at you when you came in, and look at you now. You know, that sort of thing. I had this thing where I used to send notes home, even for secondary. I will send notes home if the child is good, so that the parents do not only get, oh, your child has done this today, oh, your child has done that tomorrow. It will be as if kilo day. It's not only my child. Well, why is the child so bad? The child was not, and that's when parents will start to say, yeah, but the child wasn't that bad in the other teacher's class. Why is it that it's your class that the child is bad? So please make it a habit. Catch them doing good, send a message home. Let the parent know that, oh, today the child is good. So that when you do send a message home, which will happen because they are children, they are not invincible, they are not perfect. They will do something that will make you go, kilo day. So if you try and send a message home to say, oh, the child was good, you know, then it comes to, do you know, I can see what happens. One of my students that was calling me on Skype, on sorry, Teams. Because they're like, Mrs. Vallo, we'll not see you tomorrow. It's okay. You can rest. Me, I'm resting now. Okay, so yeah. So please try and send a good message home, because chances are, if you can catch the parent, and the parent sort of understands that you are fair, when you need the parent to help you with the child, even in cultures where their attitude is laissez-faire parenting style. If you can catch that parent when you do need them to help you to get the child straight, then it will be easier for you.
Jesus.
Oh my lord, is there any way we can exhaust this first month? I think we
Yeah,
covered the
I think
basics.
yeah, the basics. We just talked about the basics. Yeah.
We've talked about the basics. I hope that, I mean, are there, someone said, oh yeah, your daughter is cute. Oh yes, she is. Okay, we didn't get a
Please.
lot of questions today.
Thank you. No thanks.
It's Sunday. People are tired. It's that time of the year where reports, exams. I
Or maybe
know
they are
we.
trying to take in everything. Like,
I be scared them away. Rumi said, "Hello everyone. Fab videos. Thank you for the information. Mommy, thank you for helping us answer all their questions. Well, we can see her. You can see her because you're all on the other side of the screen, but we can see her. We know what she's doing. So thank you so much. Is there anything that we need to add?
I guess if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section of this recording, and
Yes.
we need to try our best to answer the questions.
Yeah. First week at school, you will be fine. You will be fine. The visa, oh, thank you. Please throw the love for them for me too. You will be fine, guys, and everything will be smooth sailing from here on. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Hello, my
Yeah.
love. She's in the back. She's saying, your hair is nice, darling, at Oye's daughter. Oh my lord. Please come and show yourself so that all the compliments are coming to you. Say hello.
Hello.
Oh, we're stealing your mommy again on Sunday, aren't we?
Mm,
Yeah, we're always stealing your mommy on Sunday. You should join us,
today
really.
is already Sunday.
Yes, we always steal her on Sundays, don't we? We're sorry. Mommy's trying to help other people so that their lives will be easier. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. See, I'm asking for permission
Yeah.
in a subtle way. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. As you can see, our children need our attention, and I'm sure your children need your attention too. So, have a beautiful week ahead. Yes, she's doing it. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good night. Bye.
Good night.
Tooth Fairy has come to her teeth.